What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. So today, Kyle, we are at the new property.
Yep.
Walk them through what we're gonna kind of do today.
So we're just gonna give you an update. So there are two different groups of Nile crocodiles here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you what they've been up to. So before we get to the crocodiles themselves, I'll show you the sandy side. And what I love about the sandy side is it always tells a story of what is happening here. Because a lot of the stuff happens at night. So obviously I don't want to mess with them at night, let them do their thing. But the sand will tell us what they've been up to. So you can see here all these tail slides that they've been sliding all over the place. You can see where all the sand's built up. So they've been using this ramp as well. Look at the male. If you can see him coming up, I'm sure he'll pop his head up eventually.
It seems like they're getting really comfortable in here. I mean, they're swimming around. They're really bold with us being here.
And that's what I love is, look, the female's there too. So she's coming up.
So we can't see it on the camera, but guys, there's a male right here, and the female's coming up right behind him.
So they are definitely hungry, even though they are very well fed. You know, they're essentially predators. You know, they're always looking for food. That's essentially their role in the ecosystem, is to, especially as a top predator like this, they're always looking for food, foraging and whatnot. So even though they are well fed, they're still looking. But the problem is we're going to get a crazy cold snap next week. So we just got to make sure we don't feed the big crocs because they'll have a hard time digesting it.
And guys, look, if we can, I don't know how well we can pick it up, but they are both sitting right there on the bank.
Come on. Let's see. Come on. Come on. Come on.
They're like, Kyle, that's a hat. We know it.
That's a hat, yeah.
But yeah,
rats are white.
They're very bold. That's awesome.
Yeah, so like I was saying, that, and also too, guys, is, let's look over here. You can see the cool footprints. You can see the nails that dug into it to drag along. And then those big feet of his.
Yeah, and then there's more of the tail slides Kyle was talking about.
Crazy tail slides. Just like,
yeah. It's like zigzagging. Wow. Yeah, and they're both just chilling there. If you can see their eyes, they're like, hello, feed us.
Well, let's go over here, and they'll probably follow us to the feeding platform, which is amazing. Is I have not fed these crocs at all because we had a lot of cooler temperatures. But they instinctively, well, I don't know, I wouldn't even say instinctively, they just are smart enough to know that, you know, this kind of mechanism is set up for food, because he's actually been jumping already, like in a feeding behavior.
So basically what you're telling me is you're standing there on that platform, and he's jumping out of the water trying to get food. Which
is amazing because, I mean, like I said, if I'm on the other sides, he knows I'm not going to feed him, but here it's definitely, you can definitely see it's more of a feeding response when he comes over to the feeding platform.
How high does he get out of the water?
He only got about 2 foot, but it was kind of a half jump. He didn't really see food, so obviously he wasn't too motivated to really come out of the water. But again, what I was saying with the sand over here, Ryan, if you can pan over there, see all the sand here?
Oh wow, it's way more kicked up in this enclosure.
And then follow it.
So follow the tail slide, guys.
All the way
and
to
the footprints.
The male. And they love hanging out underneath them, which is super cool because, especially up here, you know, with big crocs, you got the head here, you got the big long tail over here.
And I know people are gonna be like, whoa, 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 whoa. We saw this enclosure, you moved those crocodiles.
Yes.
What are these?
These are the Nile trio. So we actually moved them before we moved these guys.
Have we, I don't know if we've shown these guys on the channel.
I don't know if we have.
I don't think we have. So how about you tell them a little bit of story about these guys? I mean, you got, obviously it's a trio, so they got the male here, and then 2 females inside the pond.
There's 1 female's out and the other's roaming around. So yeah, so this is, this introduction between the 2 females and the male has been a culmination of probably 40 years. I got the 2 females from Miami, and I got the male from Belle Glade area. So pretty much more central Florida. So I've got this guy, have them, but I never had a setup like this that I felt comfortable enough to introduce them until now. So, and luckily, I mean, it seemed like it went off without a hitch. They've been getting along great. I think he's actually bred with them several times.
Because they were actually breeding the first night, right?
Yes, yeah. And that's what I've noticed is when you, like this pair too, is when I moved them, actually this male and this pair came from the same facility. The night I put them in new enclosures here, they bred that night. So I don't know if they're just excited and they just have their funny way of showing it, But again, we're not trying to produce NILEs. We got plenty of NILEs. There's plenty of NILEs in the States. If there's qualified facilities and institutions that reach out to us to say, hey, look, we're looking for a baby NILE, we have the proper facility, proper setup, proper care for them, by all means. Like I started from the private sector, so I definitely want to have it to where it's somewhat accessible, but to a certain degree. I mean, so I guess I'm not really the norm per se with a lot of these enclosures. So while I support private sector, you just got to be careful, because again, this is an 11, 12-foot animal, so it's extremely hard to properly keep and care for this animal.
Yeah, because I mean, you've built something here that even zoos are gonna have a hard time touching, and I don't mean that in any kind of like disrespectful way. It's just you've been blessed with the resources to be able to do this, to where, I mean, you literally built a football field and you put giant ponds and pretty much hockey ice rinks inside of football fields, and you're using that for crocodile enclosures. This is something that even zoos that have the funding that they have aren't able to necessarily dedicate the resources. So
yeah, and the issue with zoos too is nothing against them, but a zoo's purpose too is for the general public to see the animals. And obviously these guys are a rather shy species, so I kind of set it up to where if they want to get away, they can. You know, they got their deep murky water that they can dive into, but if he's comfortable like this, he's more than welcome to hang out.
Yeah, I mean, he's just clonked out. His eyes are closed. He's like, we're talking right here. He's like, I don't even care.
Yeah, he'll just open them every once in a while, just check on us, make sure we're not getting too close, and then close his eyes and go back to sleep.
So like Kyle was saying, these ponds are actually 8 feet deep. Oh, look at this male right here. So he's chilling out. So these are much, much deeper ponds than what they were in. And let's see if he'll actually jump. This is going to be exciting.
Let's see if he'll pop up.
It's so cool to see him cued in on you.
Yeah, he's not used to this deep water either. So his pond at the other facility was originally 6 foot deep. The problem with a natural pond is when they excavate it, they make it their own, they destroy the depth of it, because what they'll do is they'll work on the sides, push that sand towards the middle, and what does that do? That fills it in the middle of the pond. So it went from a 6 foot deep pond to a 4 foot deep pond to a 2 foot deep pond. So that's why I built the sides to hold that, but then they saw at the bottom.
Yeah, because these are natural ponds. They're just enforced natural ponds.
Yes, they breathe naturally. You know, when I say breathe, they work with the groundwater. So if it's high, it'll push up. If it's low, it'll sink down. But also too with that is it filters like a natural pond, and it has beneficial bacteria that are always growing. You know, guys, with a pool, with a concrete pool or pond, if you leave it alone, no chlorine or no filters, it'll just algae up and get disgusting. But the beauty of these is they're always being filtered naturally.
And it looks like you got some fish in here. The camera's definitely not gonna pick them up, but it looks like you got like tilapia.
Yeah, a little tilapia just to help clean the waste.
Where is he at?
He's over here, but he's just bouncing around. Yeah. And that's why I love it. You know, if the crocodile wants to be down and hidden, it can be, but if it wants to make itself known, it's welcome to as well. And that's the whole thing with these enclosures is I set them up based around enrichment, based around what they like the best and what is easiest for them as far as the ramps getting out and getting in, and also natural feel. Like even the concrete ramps, I'm against concrete.
But you got sand on there.
So what I do is I coated it with liquid pond liner, so it's ultra slick. So even if they get to it, it'll be slick. It's not abrasive at all. But then we also put 6 inches of sand on top of that. So again, there's every little element is for the croc's best interest.
And we got the female poking up right there.
And she'll go, but she loves that shallow section. That's her go-to spot. Where he is usually outside the water all day long, always walking around. He was on that back side the other day. Look at her.
Yeah. Dude, this is so crazy to be like, this perspective of standing over the top of them is insane. And now she went down.
She went down.
And I did see over here, another one's poking out.
Yep, so this is the one female.
Hopefully she doesn't take off.
You can see so this one, guys, they really stirred it up. I've been running water nonstop, but it's still a little cloudy. It's definitely clearing up, but it's gonna take time. And with that is, like I said, crocodiles, I believe crocodiles are really beneficial for ponds, just to mix up all that junk in there and help let it filter through. But with that, you know, the pond's been sitting for a while, so they just went and pushed everything around, and it kind of made the water a little cloudy, which they love. And obviously this will never be crystal clear because it is a natural pond, but that's what crocodiles love.
Now, how excited are you to see that big salty swimming underneath?
Oh, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy to see. You know, these, like Ryan, you said, you know, that 11-foot crocodile looks gigantic. Huge, looks huge. And he's, I mean, mass and width and length, I mean, take that all into account. He's probably 3-4 times as big as that animal. You know, every foot just adds so much girth and mass to him.
And now, for the people that haven't seen these enclosures before, or just are tuning in now, kind of explain the setup. I mean, you've got a huge grass area over here, so if they want grass, they can go there. That merges into sand.
Yes.
And then you got this big pond, and it looks like you kind of built it for safety too. What were kind of some of the thoughts going into designing an enclosure like this?
So, yeah, so I did the sheet pile to hold the ponds together. Now, obviously, with that, you know, you're going to have those steep slopes because sheet pile goes straight up. So I blocked it all off like this and had dedicated ramps on either side. So what's nice is we can get in here, we can work with the animals much safer, collect eggs, because when we're collecting eggs, all we have to do is shut that side, because most likely they're going to lay over there. And then we can collect the eggs safely and then open it back up. Look, guys, I love these crocodiles. I love working with them. But I understand it is super dangerous. I'm not a cowboy. You know, I understand that these crocodiles can kill you, or if I even get bit and get mangled, this could shut down everything I'm doing. So obviously, it's for my best interest to stay ultra safe, but obviously still have fun, but stay ultra safe and keep doing what I'm doing every single day. But yeah, so I wanted to set it up too, because so many facilities do this narrow strip of land around it. But from what my Niles have taught me, from just giving them more land, that they'll actually utilize it. And I've seen the Niles already all the way back on the far corner. So it's not like they need to hang close to the pond. They definitely utilize every single inch of this pond and every single inch of the land area. So I wanted to set it up, and there's all these different little areas that are so different. Like Ryan said, the sandy area here, there's little nooks back there that you can go into under the trees. Yeah,
like little shaded areas in the sand. And
giant deep area here, another ramp there, big shallow section, a cave underneath the shallow section so they can swim under that. Once it's fully developed, these sable palms will be completely engulfing that area, so a big shady spot. This sable palm will come out over the pond and shade that area. So there's a lot of different enriching areas for the crocs.
Yeah, because this whole enclosure is very new. It still has a lot of growing to do, because basically as soon as the enclosure was done, we got crocs in.
Yes, exactly. Every single tree you see here is going to, well, actually the robelinis, which are those little palms back there, they're about capped out, but I don't want something too big there. But every other plant in here is going to get substantially bigger. Now, like Ryan said, you know, I don't know how much you guys know, but also the walls are very similar to what's in the pond, holding the sand back. But these are rated for Category 5 hurricane. So if there's a Category 5 hurricane hitting directly here, there's nothing I need to do. Absolutely nothing. And that's what I wanted to set it up for, is less stress on me during hurricane seasons, and also great water system, a drain. This is also built up over the flood line, so I don't have to worry about any natural disasters, any flood events, nothing. All right, guys, well, now you got an update on the Nile crocodiles, the new facility.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at Primitive Predators, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.